everyone. Bill Apter here at the Apter Chat. And my guest here is, what have you got in your hand?
Which hand?
Both hands.
A cigarette and a martini.
Oh, Tod Gordon, you are damn hardcore.
For all my life, brother.
All your life. Welcome to the Apter Chat. You know, I see you a lot at the conventions, but we've never done the video Apter Chat. So,
And everyone
yeah.
I've talked to tells me it's the hottest ticket in town, the Apter Chat. It's hard to
Oh,
get
yeah,
in.
it is. And you don't have to buy a ticket. You're here right now.
I hear
So
if you can make the audio work, I hear it's the best chat going.
it is audio and video. We had some technical problems before we did this. But anyway, the book is Tod is God. God stands for great old dude.
I wish. But
Right, Tod?
nonetheless, it came from a chant at the arena from the fans who were part of the show. That arena crowd was as much a part of the show as the wrestlers. It was their chant, and it was just a good way to bring people into the book.
Yeah, and I read the book. Actually, I read the book twice.
Come
Once
on.
in once in the living room for a few days, and then once since I'm hardcore, once in the can. So yeah, yeah.
Which part do you enjoy
I
more?
could I could say I read it in Flushing, but I'm not going to say that.
Which version did you enjoy more? The one in the living room or the one in the can?
The one in the can. That's where I do all my reading. That's why I tell
Really?
people my book is Wrestling Fixed. I didn't know it was broken. It's a toilet book. It's chapters of, but I enjoyed this so much because I was at so much of the history of ECW. Can you see back there that with I've got my ECW hardcore T-shirt there. I've got
Uh,
John Cena wearing an ECW hat back there.
uh,
Yeah. So yeah, I was hardcore. So last time I saw you at one of the conventions in Philadelphia, I had said to you, and you were with Sandman, that ECW Extreme Championship Wrestling didn't just change the wrestlers or the promotion, it changed the fans forever because no fans ever yelled out, "You effed up," before ECW. Tell me how you felt when that change came about, where the fans grabbed on and they were like, wait a minute, these fans aren't like
Bill,
WWF. Or,
the fans are what made this promotion. In all honesty, we were like the little engine that could, and the fans were there to push us and push us and push us all the way up that mountain. I mean, seriously, that's the truth. We would never have done it without that first initial crew that was like hardcore and at every show, same people, same seats,
yeah,
and they had the same chant. They had chants for everybody. The opening match with Hack Myers, Shaw, shit, to the guy who came out and mopped the floor, mop boy, mop boy. They had a chant for everybody. Ergo, the Tod is God. But they literally had a song or a chant. They were as much a part. It was the Rocky Horror Picture Show. And they even
yeah,
brought weapons to help the wrestlers beat people each other up.
yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
fan.
Go ahead.
No, I'm saying that's fan participation. I can't tell you how many weapons we had to confiscate because they brought everything. I mean, chainsaws, prosthetic legs, the kitchen sink. New Jack used the kitchen sink that someone brought in.
I remember. You know, it's funny that you mentioned that because one time during one of the fans can bring weapons thing, I was shooting pictures between Terry Funk and Cactus Jack, and one of the fans handed uh, Terry Funk a frying pan, and he looked at me, yelled, "After what?" Boom. And I literally went out like I mean, I saw stars. And one of my friends who had never been to a wrestling show before and thought it was all fake said to me, "Billy, afterwards, that you faked that so well." I said, "Joe, it was real." Because
Feel the
EC,
love.
yeah,
Feel the
yeah.
love.
What was the most dangerous thing you ever saw at the old ECW arena?
Probably either Brian Lee going through three tables for a scaffold, three tables in the ring, scaffold, or one of New Jackson seeing dives.
What about sometimes when fire was used?
That was a one-time thing, maybe
Yeah,
two, maybe three, but only once did it get out of hand. And thank God we didn't burn the building down and
yeah.
kept
Now
on.
security there always had their hands full, didn't they?
Yeah, for the most. But you know what? These fans were so smart, Bill. Unlike anywhere else, we went through the whole building, front row to the back of the building. So there was no such thing as a bad seat. They went everywhere, and these fans were respectful enough to move out of the way. They didn't reach over and touch the guys and pat them. They gave them their room, and they saw these guys were beating the hell out of each other 2 inches from them. They knew it was real, so they really didn't want to get that close anyway. But the point is, they never got involved. They never touched the wrestlers. There was never any kind of fans getting hurt or hit. They understood what was going on, and they loved the product so much they would do anything to make it work, including making room for them anywhere they went in the building.
Were there any wrestlers that came into ECW who, from the first time, you knew just didn't fit?
First time, I'm trying to think off the top of my head that would be, because there weren't many one and dones. I mean, everybody from Curtis Hughes to, Hawk, they all stayed for a while. Snuka, Funk, by the way, God bless Terry Funk. Grateful to him forever. He made this company. He put her on his back. He made Sabu. He made Shane Douglas. He made the Public Enemy. He gave us credibility. And he was kind and generous enough to write the foreword to my book.
I'm going to bring him up a little bit later. He's one of the people I want to talk about. So, back in the old magazine days, we always came up with these sensational headlines. And I got one that I want to know. This is, like we're all sitting around the editorial office. You were there many times. Actually, you brought Sandman to challenge for my Cow Championship Office Wrestling belt.
And Gary,
yeah, but I remember that. But what I want to ask you, and this is the magazine type of question, do you feel that you were betrayed by Paul Heyman?
I mean, betrayed's an interesting word. If you read the book, it tells our entire history of best friends building something from scratch. Well, I built it from scratch. He came in when I hired him and helped elevate it to the next level. And how it really fell apart at the end is really one of the hooks of the book. It tells the true story of our falling apart and what happened and why. And it's betrayal could be a word that be used very adequately there. Yeah.
So how I don't want to give away everything that's in the book. Again, Tod is God. But what was one of the moments that you felt this guy's, I don't know, something's not right?
It took a long time to get there, but there were times when there were deals that were offered. And I had gifted Paul 49% of the company. He had refused to take a paycheck. He was working for Jim Crockett and trying to build up a group to go with Jim Crockett. Jim Crockett ended up going out of business and not running the whole new WWN. At which point Paul said, "I'm yours for life now." I said, "Well, now thanks." But anyway, I was glad to have him. There were times when we had chances for growth and expansion that I felt that he kind of cut us off the knees. I don't want this to be a hatchet job on Paul, because most of the book, I put him over like God for how creative he was, how smart he was. But he was also dishonest. I mean, everybody knows it. It's not a secret. And as I said, there were times that he did things that didn't need to be done. He kind of cut us off the knees without being obvious about it. He got us into a situation at Madison Square Garden, MSG Network. They offered us a deal of $3,000 a week for TV. I said, "Whoa, I want to penetrate New York, but $3,000 a week." He goes, "I've got it done. It's covered. I'm Mr. New York, Mr. Studio 54. The advertising done. It's all, you're gonna make a profit on just running that show. I got all 12 minutes sold. We're gonna make money just on running there. Go to New York, start running MSG. They're just waiting to watch the product for a few more weeks." He never still had any advertisers.
Yeah.
He just wanted to be on in New York. And he wanted it so he had to say anything he could to get me to go for the deal.
What during the time that the ECW was running the Invasion of WWF back then when they were showing up in the audience. There was one time I remember I was there. Did you have knowledge of that, or were you part of the workings of that, or was that all Paulie?
No, I had knowledge of it, but it was all Paulie because we had a total falling out over that. I said, I didn't want to do it. I said, we spent the last 2-3 years building up the fact that we're anti-establishment. We're the anti-WWE. We're the anti-WCW. We're anti-corporate. We're rebels. That's who we are. We show up on their TV, and the whole world's going to know that it was a work. They're going to say, hey, you guys are... So you don't really hate them. It undermined it, undid everything we've built up. And his attitude was, we go on Raw or the pay-per-view, we'll get 1 million eyes on our product that were never there before. It's worth it. And I said, it's not worth it. That wasn't my vision of the company. But at that point, when that happened, it was now he was now running the company. So I had no control over it other than fight, like dogs about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you ever... Go ahead.
I was totally against that invasion angle. I hated it.
Did you ever talk with Vince McMahon, or was Paul always the middle person to Vince?
First of all, I didn't know there were any conversations going on with Vince McMahon. I was kayfabed on all that, including the money that Vince was feeding Paul under the table that I didn't know about.
Wow.
In control of the company.
Yeah. Yeah.
So no, my meeting Vince was just a meeting and nothing about business at all. So that was totally his deal.
The people that were closest to you in ECW, Sandman, Sabu, RVD, did you confide in them about this whole situation?
Bronzi Scorpio, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, they all knew the deal. What they didn't know is what happened at the end. The split happened when I couldn't take it anymore because I was still trying to be the front man for him, keeping the deals alive in Japan. I'd done keeping all the deals alive. I was still the guy who had, brokered all these deals when I was running the company. And he had lost the locker room. It was like 97. They were all splintered. Guys wanted to go to WCW. Guys wanted to leave. Guys wanted to get paid and have their checks clear. I said, I can't be part of this anymore. I'm out. And he said, I'm losing everybody. I lost the locker room. I said, no kidding. He said, you got to do me a favor. We need to rally the guys together again and get the locker room back. I'm going to paint you as a heel. Like there's a mole or blah, blah, blah. Which, of course, Eric Bischoff has said 5 times. Mole. I never met Tod Gordon. What are you talking about? He never worked for us. That's crazy. But back then, Paul's trying to galvanize the locker room, us against the world again. Bring them all back together. Come on, they all trying to put us under, trying to take over the company, but trying whatever. But Paul and I had an agreement. He never said one bad word about me ever negatively.
Right.
I never said one bad word about him ever publicly. Now it's 30 years later. Kind of things have changed. But back then, I just sucked it up and took it.
When was the last time? When was the last time you talked with him?
When they made his DVD for the WWF, WWE, he called me up because we're still friendly. He said, dude, can you do me a favor? Come on and talk on my DVD. And I did. And I went down there and I couched everything. I didn't bury him. I mean, it's his DVD, for God's sakes.
I remember. I was on that too, so I remember very well what you said.
And then it comes out, and he's still perpetrating the whole, like, oh, yeah, Tom's trying to undermine the company. I went, I said, oh, I get it now. He never smartened the boys up. After all these years, he never told them we did this together. What?
Yeah.
Never spoke to him again after that.
Wow, unbelievable. What do you think about? What do you think about his? What do you think about his current run in WWE all these years with Brock?
The whole bloodline angle he did had to be his writings. I know the way he thinks and writes. Brilliant. It had people hanging on for over a year. Now I look at it and I'm thinking, okay, it's run its course. And he's starting to let the gray and the white come in. I think he's been on camera too much now. But during the angle, he carried the angle because they couldn't do a promo. He carried that whole angle, made the whole storyline happen. But now lately, he's looking like he's a little bit too old for that role.
Okay. Well, Paul, if you're watching this, you can come on and say what you like as well. I'm going to do something that I love to do with people. You know the old word association?
Before you do that,
Yeah.
I have a bone to pick with you.
Uh-oh. What is it?
In your magazine days,
Uh-oh. Okay.
Stanley Weston / Apter Mags.
I was wait. I was the face of the magazines.
Yeah. Yes. There was a time when we did a great invasion angle with Jim Cornette, Jerry Lawler, a phenomenal angle at the arena. Always a surprise. You never knew who was going to show up. They came in, they did an angle, they put me on the table for Sabu to put me through a table. Fonzie, one of my best friends in the world to this day, goes to pull me down the table, get in position, pulls my pants come down to my knees. You know where I'm going, right? Sabu put me through the table. And to me, everything about the business is about being real. Everything about ECW is real. If I'm knocked out, I can't pull them up. So I had to lay there and sell it in my underwear. What's on the cover of your magazine? That picture. And the story inside with another picture.
Wait, what was on the cover of the magazine?
The picture of me dead at ringside with my pants down around my knees.
No, we never would have put that on the cover. That's got to be another magazine. Cannot be one of the Stanley Weston magazines. Guaranteed.
Yes,
nobody put it there.
It's the insert of the cover and the storyline inside the same picture blown up.
Well, it might have been an insert. I don't remember that at all because I always saw
cover.
Yeah.
And full story inside with a big picture.
You gotta find it. You gotta find it because I don't. You have it, okay?
Would I make something like that up?
No, not at all. I don't remember that. I saw every cover.
You don't remember your kids' names? Come on, Bill, you're getting old.
Yeah, it's happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Brandon. Yeah, I got it. All right, so let's go back now to word association, and I will come to Carver Reed for you to show me that picture or shoot a picture of it. So I want to do word association, and it doesn't have to be one word. It can be a small paragraph. It can be a small paragraph.
Okay.
All right, I want to go down somebody, and again, this is Tod Gordon, the man who is a great old dude, and I don't mean old, O-L, great old dude, and a dear friend of mine forever, right here on Sportskeeda on Wrestle Binge. Okay.
Back at you.
All right, thank you. I thought you were doing a Pedro Morales imitation. I am ready for any kind of action, baby.
Any kind of action.
By the way, was there one guy that you wanted in ECW from one of the other companies that you never could get to come in because they just didn't want to do
Actually,
ECW?
wasn't the other company. There was one guy that I tried to get early on in the early days of Eastern when I was really featuring Snuka and Morocco, which was a hot dude out of WWE.
Yeah.
And I called Roddy Piper up. Again, we're in our infancy stages. I hadn't even met Paul Heyman yet. I called Roddy up and I said, listen, I'm running these shows in Philly. I'm using Morocco and Snuka on top. I'd love to bring you in. Because that was as hotter feud as there was. Snuka and Piper. Come on. He said, you got two good guys there in Morocco and Snuka. And honestly, you can't afford me. I'm an expensive flight out of Portland. And I don't fly coach. And I don't want a lot of money. And there's no way you're going to be able to recover that cost. I mean, I appreciate the invite, but good luck to you. Seriously. I hope you guys make it, but I'm too expensive for you. I didn't even ask him the price. I just said, thank you, sir. I got you. And that was the only guy that I wanted to bring in that didn't. Anybody else I wanted to bring in, we did.
Wow. So Roddy Piper is the guy who didn't want to come into
No,
ECW.
I didn't say that. I said he didn't say he didn't want to. He said it's going to be more expensive than what I'll bring into the ticket.
That's great business because he was a very sweet guy that way. He loved, because I knew him really well, he loved to make sure that anything he was doing business-wise wasn't just for him, it was also for the promoter.
And the first three guys that I hung my hat on was Ivan Koloff, Jimmy Snuka, and Don Morocco. Same way. They cared about building the company up. They weren't out for themselves. It was this indie promotion. They didn't care, but they also wanted to build it up. First show I ever ran, Ivan Koloff was my big name. And he said to me, "Who do you want me to put over?" I said, "What? You're Ivan Koloff.
Right.
Who do you want to beat?" He said, "That's not how you do business. I got to help elevate your guys so they can draw money."
That's wonderful. He was a great guy. Well,
My
my favorite thing about Snuka and Morocco wasn't anything they did in the ring. It was just Snuka saying Morocco's name, where he'd go, "Don Morocco, brother."
First time I called Ivan Koloff, again, I'm green as you can be. I had just starting out, and I called because, "Hello." I said, "Yes, man, Ivan. I speak to Ivan Koloff, please." "This is Ivan." I said, "No, I'm sorry, the wrestler, the Russian guy, Ivan Koloff." He goes, "This is Ivan." I went, "What? Where's your accent? Where's the Russian? What?"
That was when you were Tod Green, not Tod Gordon.
Very much so. First and second shows came a
All right.
long way. Go ahead.
Let's go down. Let's go down the list here of word association, and again, just a few lines about your relationship, whether they were hard to deal with, easy to deal with. Okay, we'll start off with the Tasmaniac, Taz, human suplex machine.
I got along with Taz as much as anyone can get along with Taz, who's not part of his inner circle. And we were all good until he went into business for himself. And at that point, I wasn't paying him anymore. Paul was. And he went into business for himself and became his own, got his own belt, the FT, because he didn't have a belt in ECW.
The FTW belt.
Made his own belt, had his own dojo, brought his own guys with him. It's like, had his own little area to dress in. Whereas we used to all dress together as a family. And he kind of, he believed the gimmick a little too much, in all honesty. But he was a professional. He trained like nothing. I mean, he was always in great shape. And he must have hated seeing Sandman and Tommy Rich and the rest of the guys chugging beers as he's in there pumping iron. So he had to be frustrated. But still, you don't go to business for yourself. He believed the gimmick a little too much.
Okay, what about Raven?
Raven's special. Raven is one of the greatest minds in the world. And if you don't believe me, you ask Raven. He'll tell you.
I love it. Let's talk about Sandman.
My best friend for 30 years. We had a group called the Posse. It was Sandman, Fonzie, me, Tod Scorpio, and Nancy Sullivan before she left. The five of us. And then it was the four of us because she went back to WCW. I'm going to tell you, it's 2023. I don't go 4 days to this day without talking to Sandman or Scorpio or Fonzie. Fonzie must text me 35 times a day. It drives me crazy. There's a picture from us in 1995, Daddy. Come on, Daddy. Here's where you're hitting his head time. Yeah, these three guys are still my best friends 30 years later. How unique that is. And they're best friends. I mean, the four of us together, I can't even explain to you what it's like. But
I know, I get that. But it's funny because you mentioned Fonzie. He was on the list. You just told us about him. Tell us about Scorpio.
Scorpio, to me, was the most talented guy that ever came to our locker room. Or none. He could brawl. He could fly. He could chain wrestle. He could do everything except promos.
Yeah.
If he could have cut a promo, we may never have landed the guy. He was that talented. And I love the guy to death. Like I said, he stayed here so many times post ECW. When I was doing 3PW and PWU, I'd bring him in every month. He'd stay here. My kids now call one room here Scorp's room. It's Allie's room, Becky's room, and Scorp's room. And he knows, and he laughs. He goes, "Is my room ready for me?" Whenever he comes, Scorp's room. He's like a member of the family. He's Uncle Scorp.
Oh, wait a minute. Now you mentioned because of the magazine thing, you had a beef with me. Now my beef with you is that you made me 3PW commissioner and you made me go heel, and there were people that wanted to kill me. Thank you.
Because you were that good at it. It's a
Thank you. Let's talk about Tommy Dreamer.
Tommy, when I first met him, I can still remember him saying to me, Mr. Gordon, I will die for this company. I will do anything for this company. I just tell me what to do. I will go through a wall. And that's been Tommy's MO forever. If there was a captain, if in a football, they elect a captain, if the workers in the back had to elect a captain, they would have elected Tommy. And yet he's the one guy who didn't party like everybody else. This was a locker room full of heavy partiers.
Yes, I know.
Tommy and Tat, they were not part of that. Tommy was as straight as could be, and everybody loved him.
Yeah, and everybody still loves him. Let's look at Eddie Gilbert, who was one of your, yeah.
Eddie Gilbert, my first booker.
Yes.
Loved him to death. As funny and as bright and as hip to the wrestling business as you could be. He was scripted at my TV for the first 6-7 months. And we'd go out in Philadelphia. He wore a crown like Lawler, a cape, the glasses, and then the one man with the camera following him. He'd walk anywhere, fearless. A big dance club, wall-to-wall people. And he would come through his crown and his cape go, okay, it's okay, the king's here. And everybody looking like, who is this guy?
I know, I was with him a couple of times when he did that.
We're dancing. Like, no one knew him. He didn't care. He went to become the king of Philadelphia. Lord was king of Memphis. Eddie was king of Philadelphia. So he went to Jim's king of steaks for cheesesteaks.
Yeah.
He starts at he goes, Jim, I'm the king of Philadelphia. He's going to go, what are you talking? I'm the king of cheesesteaks. What are you talking about? He goes, no, I'm the king. And he started this war. This guy,
yeah.
He just started this giant war with this guy, screaming and yelling. And the guy's like pulling his hair out. And Eddie was just brilliant like that. Such a good
Eddie was 24/7 the wrestling business.
Such a good dude.
Yes. What about Francine?
Francine's a sweetheart. She still is. I actually did
Yes.
her podcast long ago. And she was one of the ones who didn't know about the whole bowl work. When I told her that day on the show, she was like, what? What? That was a work. I said, come on, Francine. If anybody had any brains, they would have known if I wanted to put the company under. All I had to do was take the tape library home with me.
Right.
But
right.
Hello, use this so you can have B-rolls. You show Shane Douglas' old back. Without that, they're back at ground zero. So how much do I want to take the company down? I said, here, use the tape library.
Yeah. Let's talk about Shane Douglas.
Just saw him this past Saturday in Hamburg, PA.
If you're watching this a few weeks later, it was a few Saturdays ago.
Yes, it was, Bill. Thank you for clearing that up, because people were
okay.
Saturday was I was with him.
Right.
There's a big uproar. Which Saturday was it exactly?
Exactly.
But anyway, he's a good dude. He was the greatest champion we had, which is why we picked him to elevate the company when it went extreme. He could take a microphone and like 45 minutes later say, Shane, we're good. It's 45 minutes. Most people can't do 3 or 4 minutes. He could do 45 in a promo. And once did on an episode of the TV show, we were totally out of matches. We showed the same junk like 3 or 4 times already. We need to get more stuff in the can. We're catching up all the time. Shane, he gives like a 15-minute promo. At least eat up part of the show. He did 60. We had to cut 12 out for commercials to make it a 48-minute promo. Who can do a 60-minute promo without breaking?
I get phone calls from him that go 60 minutes too. So finally, the last person who we talked about a little bit before, someone we both loved, and actually I have a picture of me interviewing he and his dad, 1971 in Madison Square Garden. and we're talking
Wow.
about Terry Funk. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. He became ECW, and boy, he helped invent hardcore because he was doing hardcore before ECW was around.
Certainly. And without him, nobody would have heard of ECW. We'd just been one of those guys running a farmer's market once a month or whatever, at a bar show. He took us single-handedly with his name value and his abilities, of course, to the next level. He took our TV show, elevated, started on color commentary, also became a worker, and he loved what we did. He loved our attitude and our love for the business, which is what he had. And the guys in the locker room all had that same love. He felt it, and he didn't work anywhere else except for maybe Japan at all once he started with us.
Yeah, it was a group of rebels in that dressing room, and he was always a rebel.
Yeah, and he loved what he did. He loved the way we did it, and he said, "I'm here for as long as you'll have me. I'm here." And we wanted him there forever, obviously, because he was that phenomenal guy. Great guy. Quick story book. Terry Funk sitting in the locker room. Wrestlers walking in. Shoulder, my leg is killing me. I don't have health insurance. He goes, "Come here, you dummy." Pulls the guy over. All of you come over. Grabs all the young boys around him. Goes, "Let me tell you something. When you go to a new town, the first thing you do, get a rental car and get the insurance. And then you drive that thumb of a bitch right in the damn telephone pole and you get yourself free health care."
In your book.
He was the best.
In your book. One last question now. A lot of companies try and resurrect what ECW was. They hire some of the guys, they bring them back. The 2300 Arena is a wonderful place, but that smell from ECW is not there anymore. When you see these companies come back and try and make these be like ECW, what does that do to you?
Listen, in all honesty, we caught lightning in a bottle. We came along at a time when everybody else was doing cartoons and actual cartoons. And we were the Howard Stern of wrestling. We were R-rated wrestling. We were drugs and sex and rock and roll. And there's a huge audience for that who couldn't stand watching Papa Shango make Ultimate Warrior throw up across the ring by doing a spell on him. Horrible. I couldn't stomach that stuff. I wanted what I grew up on. I wanted Bruno, hard hitting. I wanted the stuff that I believed in. And we made it believable again because we made it real. Were the outcomes predetermined? Yeah. Were the matches real? Ask me when I'm going to the doctor still for my back getting shots in the head. When I go with Sandman, it's stem cell shots. I'm telling you, all of our guys, it's like a mass unit back there.
But that's amazing because you just encapsulated it by saying you caught lightning in a bottle, and that hasn't happened in a long time. Where can people find you on social media, Tod?
The only place they can find me right now is on Facebook and Messenger. Okay. I don't have, I was late for the computer age. Listen, if there was an internet when ECW was around, we would have gone out of business.
Oh my, yes, yeah.
If I could charge $2, $5 for people around the country to watch an arena show, everything would have been profitable. There was no internet. We were relying on tape.
It was magazines.
Yeah, 3 months later, we were relying on VHS tapes. People in Japan were buying VHS. We were too soon.
And but they can find you on Facebook.
That's the only place you can find me. But the books
they can get a hold of me and I can find you. The book, along with my good friend Sean Oliver. You remember him from Kayfabe Commentaries. I was on almost every one of those Kayfabe commentaries. Sean Oliver, thank you for co-authoring this with Tod Gordon, two very dear friends of mine. You can find the book on Amazon. You can find it in bookstores everywhere. And, I don't promote every book because most books are like everybody's just moaning about what was wrong and what this is real life. And I really, really loved it, Tod.
Bill, thank you. I just want to say, Bill, I'm Tod Gordon, and I'll see you at the matches.
He stole my catch line. EC Dub, EC Dub. See you. I'll see you at the matches too.